Hello CraftDee Family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we'll be creating some modern style decor that would be perfect for display on a shelf, table, or countertop. Now these pieces all feature a clean modern look and incorporate neutral colors with wood, greenery, and stone accents. Now these all can be made with Dollar Tree supplies and other items that are less than $1. Now for your convenience, I provided the complete list of supplies and tools that I used to make these projects in the description box below. Now I'm so excited to share this tutorial with you, but before we start, I have to say hey and welcome back to my amazing subscribers and visitors to my channel. Now if you aren't a visitor to my channel today and you love to create fun and easy DIY projects on a budget, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and also click that notification bell so you will be the first to know when a new DIY tutorial is ready to share with you. So now, let's jump right into the projects. Now this project is a triple stand planter display. Now for this project, we'll be using the tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. We'll also be using these craft sticks I got from Lowe's for 98 cents. Now we're going to start by laying out our Surebonder silicone mat, and I'm going to grab those tumbling blocks. Now I went ahead and stained all of mine with this Jacobian Minwax stain ahead of time because I wanted them to be this beautiful color. Now we're going to start by making 6 of the 2-piece block sets. Now to do this, you definitely want to make sure you have a straight edge on hand. Now I'll be using my Surebonder hot glue gun on a high temperature, and I'll also be using the Surebonder wood stick glue sticks, and these are stronger than regular hot glue sticks. Now to adhere these together, we're just going to apply some of that wood stick hot glue to the very end, and we want to press the ends together. We want to make sure we remove any kind of glue that oozes out of the seam. So once we make that one 2-piece set, just go ahead and repeat this until we have all 6. Next, we're going to make 6 of the 3-piece block sets. We're just going to go ahead and grab that block, and we want to adhere them end to end. And as always, make sure that it's a nice and clean connection, and you want to make sure you definitely use that straight edge. I promise you this will make a huge difference in your final project, and continue this until you have all 6 of those 3 block piece sets. So next we're going to make 8 of the 2-piece stacked sets of blocks. Now what we're going to do here is take 2 blocks and stack them on top of each other. So just apply some of that hot glue right on top and press it firmly into place. And you want to make sure that the ends are nice and even, so press them against that straight edge as you go. And just repeat this until you have 8 of those 2 block sets. And finally, we're going to make 4 of the 4-piece stacks of blocks. Now we're going to adhere these the same way as we did our 2-piece stacks of blocks. We just want to make sure we bond them end to end. So once we have 2 stacks already done, we're just going to apply some of that Surebonder glue in between that seam and press it into place until we have a 4-piece set as shown here. Now we're going to repeat this until we have 4 completed sets. And here are all of our block sets that we will need to make this project. So now we're going to grab our carpenter square, and this is available at the Dollar Tree, and we're going to start by one of those 3 block sets and grab 2 of those 2 block sets. Now I'm going to start by adhering one of those 2 block sets on the very end of that 3 block set right on top. Go ahead and rotate it around and apply another 2 block set on the other side of that 3 block set. And then finally take that last 3 block set and apply it right at the bottom, and we just want to make sure we apply a generous amount of that glue on the ends there and press it into place. And just go ahead and make sure you press it firmly and it'll form this square. Now we're going to repeat this until we have a total of 3 of these squares. So we're going to sit one to the side and work with these two. And what we're going to do is take 4 of those 2 block sets for each one of these squares to form the little legs on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be applying one of these 2 block sets in each one of the corners. Just make sure you apply a generous amount of that glue in the corner and press it into place until it holds, and just remove any glue that oozes out of the seams. Now you want to repeat this until all 4 corners are glued, and then here we go. We got one of our stands frames done. Now we're going to repeat this for the second one as well. Now for this third one, what we're going to do is we're going to be using that 4-piece block set that we made, and we're going to be applying one of these in each corner as well, the same way we did with the 2 block sets. Just make sure you use a nice amount of that glue in the corner and make sure it is nice and adhered to that corner. And here is that frame piece with all 4 of those legs in place as well. So now we're going to take those craft sticks that we got from Lowe's. Again, these are 98 cents. This is a really good deal. What we're going to do is we're going to cut one end of one of those craft sticks flush with the edge, and then we're going to make a mark to cover the corner of one of those stands, and we want to make sure it just fits flush right against that edge. Once we have a piece nice and cut, apply some of that glue to each end of that craft stick and press it into place, making sure that the top and side edges are nice and aligned. Now we're going to repeat this process by marking the bottom piece and doing the same thing on the opposite end, cutting off those edges nice and straight, fitting it, and then hot gluing that into place as well. Now once those 2 ends are there, use 3 more sticks and space them evenly in between them after you cut them, glue them into place, and here is what it will look like. Now you want to repeat this for your other 2 stands. Now here are all 3 stands with those sticks right on top. Now I love how this looks with the contrast, but I definitely want to have them the same color, so I'm going to use my Jacobian Minwax stain to stain the tops of these. Now I'm just taking my rag here and I'm going to be lightly applying that stain on top, all over the in between and on top of those craft sticks. Now you do want to make sure you get those edges as well. Now once the first one is done, repeat this for your second 2, and when they're all done, you want to make sure you sit these outside to completely dry. So now that our stands are dry, we could start with our arranging and staging. Now these are all, they're able to be arranged any kind of way. You can arrange them straight across at a diagonal, you can stack them. I originally wanted to bond them all together, but I'm so glad I left them separate. This way it gives you more options to display them. So go ahead and set that to the side, and what we're going to do is we are going to be using some of these little glass vases from the Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be using their succulents and some rocks to make a display and put that all together. And here is the entire display all put together. I mean, this is such a creative way to showcase your succulents. Now I really love this multi-level design of this piece, and it can be arranged in so many ways. And you all know how much I love this Jacobian stain, and it really works well with the Dollar Tree blocks and those craft sticks. Now you can display all kinds of trinkets on these stands. There's so many possibilities with these. Now this project is for a set of modern style round vases. Now I'm going to use these little round vases that I saw at the Dollar Tree, and you notice they have a little blue dot on it, but it scratches off pretty easily. So I'm just going to remove that and use some of this 100% acetone that I got from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to rub this on there, and as you can see, those dots just dissolve right away. Now I'm going to repeat this for the other one until both of those vases are nice and cleaned up. So in order to paint these, I'm going to be actually using electrical tape, and I got this from the Dollar Tree. Now I want to run this electrical tape around those vases, just right below where that yellow paint ends. And I'm using electrical tape instead of painter's tape because it has stretch and it'll conform to curves a lot better than painter's tape. So I strongly suggest trying this out if you have some round objects you would like to paint. So here are both of my vases all taped up and ready to go to add our paint, and I will be using some of this white chalk paint for my base. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thin layer around that top edge of the tape just to kind of get it nice and sealed in, and I'm going to do this around both of the vases and let it completely dry. Now once that does dry, I'm going to add a second layer, and I want to go in an upward motion, and I want those strokes to be upward because this will help with the final finish that I will complete these vases in. You just want to apply a nice good layer, and you want to repeat this for both of those vases. Now that the vases are all dry, we can apply our final finish. Now I'm going to be using this Minwax Antique Wax Waverly Antique Wax to go ahead and do my finish, and I'm also using one of these 2-inch chip brushes that I got actually from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm just going to dip it in there, and I'm just going to go in an upward motion. I want to start right where that tape starts, and I want to go in an upward motion, and this will create some nice lines in the wax to resemble a wood texture that looks really great. So you just want to work it around until you achieve the look that you want, and once that's done, go ahead and repeat this on your second vase. Now this is optional, but I wanted to get the inside of the top just in case it shows when I add anything to the vase. Now once that's done, you want to let them sit and completely dry. So now that they are dry, this is the fun part. We get to remove that tape. So you just want to pull that tape away from the edge, and you'll see it has this wonderful crisp edge. And here are both vases complete, and now you can decorate them however you like. Now I just stuck a stem from a Dollar Tree bundle inside, and I love the way that it coordinates with the vases. Now this finish that the wax gives the vase is so awesome, and it really gives it that natural boho modern kind of look. Now you can display these with or without the greenery, and it's all a matter of preference. Now these were really fun and easy to do, and I hope that you give them a try. Now this project is a pair of modern wall art pieces. Now we're going to use those tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree, and they are already stained with my Jacobian stain. And we're also going to be using a piece of white poster board. So I'm going to start by laying out my Sherbonder mat, grabbing my blocks and a straight edge. Now we're going to start by making 8 of the 5-piece block sets. Now using that same Sherbonder wood stick glue, you want to glue these end to end, and you want to create a 5-stick long piece. Now the key to getting these straight is not only using the straight edge, but you want to flip your block set for every block that you add, and this will ensure you have a nice straight piece. And then you want to repeat this until you have 8 of the 5-piece block sets. So now I'm going to grab my carpenter square, and I'm going to put together my frames. So I'm going to grab one of those 5-piece block sets, and I want to place a second 5-piece block set right on top in the corner to form an L shape. Just add some of that Sherbonder glue right in the corner and press it into place. Now you want to rotate around, and be careful, take note of how you adhere these. These are a little different. You want to adhere these as shown and make sure those ends are meeting up end to end. Now this will make sure that your frame is completely square. And then finally add that last block set. It should fit snugly into place. You want to add some of that wood hot glue into place and just press it firmly so it's nice and secure. And now you have your 10-inch frame. Now you want to repeat this for a second 10-inch frame. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the foam board for the back of our frames. Just lay them stacked on top of each other on one edge of that foam board, and just take a pencil and mark the edge. Now once you have that line as a guide, we can go ahead and cut that out. I'm just going to take my straight edge and my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to cut that piece of foam board out. So now go ahead and grab those frames again, put them side by side and just go ahead and score a line right in between the two frames. Then take your straight edge and cut on that scored line that you made. So now you'll have two pieces for the back of the frames, but they are exact, but we don't want them to fit exact so they don't overlap. So what we're gonna do is just trim off a quarter of an inch off each end of those squares, and they should fit right on the back without showing from the front. Now just go ahead and place those to the side, and we're gonna grab some parchment paper. So to keep it from rolling up, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to tape it down on each side. Now I did make a template that's 7 inches by 7 inches from a piece of printer paper, and I'm just going to stick that right under the parchment paper to use as a guide for my artwork. So my artwork is going to be made from hot glue. Now this is my first time doing this, so we'll see how it turns out. So we're going to start by just working that hot glue into a top to bottom zigzag all the way up that 7-inch square. Now once we finish those zigzags going up and down, we're just going to test and see if it looks okay, and then we're going to do the same thing right on top of it, going side to side. Now once we finish that, we're going to make some lines diagonally each way all over that piece. And here is what it will look like when it's all done. Now we are going to make 2 of these, so go ahead and repeat the process for a second one. So once it's all dry, it should be able to peel right off that parchment paper, and it looks really neat. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and trim off the edges until you get a size piece that you like, and if the dimensions look good, just trim it down to your preference. And once it's done, I'm taking my Dollar Tree broom and cleaning up all of those glue webs. And now we have our 2 pieces ready for our frame. So what I decided to do is go ahead and paint a couple of coats of this flat black spray paint by Krylon on the back side of these glue art pieces. Now while that dries, we're going to go ahead and assemble our frames, and so I'm taking that foam board, I am going to place it on the back of one of the frames. So go ahead and run a bead of that hot glue around the back edge of the frame. Then carefully place one of those foam board squares in and until it's nice and secure, and there we go, we have one of our frames, and just repeat this for the other one until you have 2 completed frames. And now that those are ready, we can grab our art pieces. How cool do these look? So now what I'm going to do is just place it on just center it on the middle of the frame, and then put several dots of hot glue on the back wherever you like. I usually put it where there is already an existing glob of hot glue on there, and just press it into place. I mean, this is such an abstract piece of work, so you really can't see any mistakes. And here are both pieces adhered. Oh my goodness, these are super cute. Now to hang these, all I'm going to do is flip them over, and I'm going to take a piece of jute string with knots tied on each end. I'm going to fold it in half and place it on the back. And then I'm going to apply some hot glue to each one of those knots and to secure that little hang string in place. And there we go. Now that they're dry, these are ready to hang and display. So here you have it, 2 very personalized and fun modern framed artwork pieces for your home. Now this is my first time working with this hot glue as a focal point of an art design, and it was so much fun seeing it come together. And these woodblock frames are the perfect way to showcase these pieces too. Let me know in the comments if you've ever made any hot glue art. Now this project is for a pair of wood and glass multi-purpose vases. So we're going to start with 2 of these square vases from the Dollar Tree, and also a pack of these craft sticks from Lowe's for 98 cents. So I'm going to lay out my grid mat as a guide while I make this. So I'm going to grab some of those sticks, and I'm going to put 4 of them side by side. Now we want to make sure they're nice and even, so make sure you use a ruler or a straight edge. Now I'm going to take 2 craft sticks and I'm going to cut them in half. Now these will be helping to bond all of these sticks together on the back. So I'm just going to lay them out in pairs of 2 along the back of those craft sticks. Now if they do overlap, just go ahead and trim them down so they'll fit. Then I take some of that hot glue and you want to apply it to that stick and apply them into place. And here is one of those bonded sets. Now you do want to make a total of 4 of these sets for this project. So now that we have all 4 done, we can start to put together and measure out and cut our project. And I'm going to use my vase as a guide. Now my vase is just under 3 1/4 inches wide, but I'm using that as a guide by putting some tape on my mat and then marking those marks on my craft sticks. So we should be able to get 2 pieces cut out of each one of those craft sticks. So I'm just making my marks on there so I can get 2 even cuts at 3 1/4 inches. And I'm going to use my straight edge to make lines. Now I'm going to use my utility knife to cut down the middle since my scissors are hard to get in that area for some reason and it'll split the wood. So a few passes through and these should snap apart. If you have any frays, you can cut those off with scissors. And then I'm going to make a line down the edge on that mark we made and then cut those nice and even. And then repeat this for the other piece and you'll have 2 pieces for each one of these and you want to complete that for all of the pieces. Now I will be using some skewers to help build this together because I will be building these into a box. So I want to start by adding a generous amount of that wood stick hot glue along the edge and I want to place another edge of another piece in that corner and you want to hold it until it bonds. Now once it does bond, you can go ahead and add another strip of hot glue right down that seam and I'm going to press one of those skewers right into that corner. Now that skewer actually helps it hold its shape, so I'm just going to hold it until it cools and there we go, that corner is formed and we can trim off that excess skewer. Now we're just going to add another strip of that hot glue to another piece we're going to add on. We want to press it right into that corner, make sure it's nice and bonded. And once that does bond, we're going to do the same thing. Now we can't get our glue gun into the space, so I'm going to add the glue actually to the actual skewer and then press that skewer right into that seam until it bonds. Then once it's dry, you can trim it off and add 2 seams of that hot glue for the closing side of your box. Just press that last piece into place and squeeze those sides together. And then make sure you add your 2 additional skewers, 1 in each of those corners. Now you want to make sure you are generous with your glue with this so your box will be nice and sturdy. Then trim off all of your excess skewer and you have a perfect little box. Now you do want to repeat this for your other 4 pieces until you have 2 completed boxes. Now as you can see, that little vase fits right inside and it's removable in case you don't want to have it on there. Now I did want these boxes to match my other projects, so I am going to stain it with my Jacobian Mem Wax stain. You just want to apply it on all of the outside pieces of the box, and you also want to make sure you get that top edge since it will be exposed. Now you can do the inside if you like, but since mine won't be showing, I didn't do the inside. So once they're all stained, all you have to do is sit these outside to dry. So now that they are dry, we can start putting our project together. So grab those vases and we're going to stick one inside of each of those boxes. Now what I'm going to do is fill my jars, but to save on materials, I am going to stuff the bottom with some newspaper and then all you have to do is add your filler. In this case, you can add rocks, you can add greenery, whatever you like. Now after adding all of my rocks and greenery, here are the 2 vases on display. Now I'm really loving the assortment of the greenery at the Dollar Tree this year. And the transformation of these craft sticks was so amazing. Now you can use these for more than just plants too. How about just to add some beautiful candles? Now it's always so hard to pick a favorite project, but you guys have to let me know in the comments which one was your favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. If you like videos like these and you don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below, or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and then click on the bell. It's absolutely free. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.